Traders, how are you? Marcello, founder of the Day Trading Academy, co-founder of Speed Up Trader. Today, we're going to be doing the recap of what happened in the markets last week. A lot of crazy things have been going on. Bitcoin at record highs. Trump gets censored. Biden's officially the next president. So we're going to go ahead and cover it all. Monday, the markets were lower. We had a situation where investors were worried about the situation with the new coronavirus out of the UK and South Africa. In addition to that, the breakout that's been happening in many cases where the cases are spiking, and a lot of uncertainty in regards to the Georgia runoff elections as well. Tuesday, we ended higher after the Democrat victory, which likely means greater corporate regulation and higher taxes for all of us. So now the Democrats have taken control of the House of Representatives. In the Senate, they're tied at 50-50, meaning that 50 seats go to the Republicans, 50 go to the Democrats. But in that scenario, the vice president is the one that always cuts the tiebreaker. So now that Biden has been officially, the electorate has been on the 6th of January, Pence, the vice president, current vice president, accepted the electors, the voting of the electors. Biden is now officially the new the president-elect. So now they're going to control all three parts of Congress. This is going to be easier for them to be able to go ahead and run what they want to be able to do. And Biden has also talked about a situation where he wants to increase a significant amount of stimulus in the trillions of dollars. So because of that reason, Thursday, the market closed on record highs, and then Friday also the market closed on record highs. And as I mentioned to you guys, it's probably going to be in the trillions of dollars. Now, remember, what I've always said is government, for me, big government is always the problem, right? It's not right or left. Because notice that when Obama came into office, he added more debt to the federal debt than every other president combined. That was 8 years. Now, Trump comes in 4 years, and he literally puts more debt than what Obama did in 8 years. And now, most likely, Biden is going to add more debt than both of those combined. For the week, the Dow went up 1.60%, the S&P 500 went up 1.82%, the Nasdaq went up 2.43%. European markets are far higher. The FTSE went up 6.38%. In Latin America and the Canadian markets, the index in Chile was the biggest winner at 9.16%. Africa and the Middle East, South Africa went up 6.91%. In the far, far east, the Kospi in South Korea went up 9.69%. Bitcoin has been on an absolute tear recently. Today, when I'm recording on Saturday, went up to a new record high to 41,500. Thursday, it hit 40,000. And we've had quite a bit of volatility, right? It's been bouncing back and forth. JP Morgan is now sitting on a long-term target of 146. Oh, got him. 146,000. Now, a lot of central banks as well are starting to print trillions of dollars, and this is an after effect of the situation with the quarantine and the coronavirus where, the economies are essentially shut down for the most part, right? Or at least most of them, or a big part of them, because of the government-forced quarantines to be able to save everybody from the coronavirus. So we have a situation where they aren't making any money. People are starving, so they're printing more and more money to be able to help the people that are losing their jobs and everything. And this is eventually going to cause a very, very bad situation where, in my opinion, we're looking at the collapse of the dollar, new financial system, and that's part of the reason why Bitcoin is starting to go up, because analysts are saying that the Bitcoin is a hedge to the against inflation, which is coming, there's an anticipation of it coming now due to the fact that with the Democrats in charge, is going to be a significant amount of stimulus in addition to quite a lot of debt being printed to be able to go ahead and support the new, there's a bug that keeps flying around here that I keep trying to get, but I can't. Other than that, the Bitcoin far higher this week. It went up 35% to 39,982. That was as of Saturday morning. Remember, I just told you guys that it did pop above 41,500. It did go up another 35% last week. And remember, last year, Bitcoin actually wasn't the best returns. Tesla actually had best returns Tesla actually had better returns than Bitcoin last year. In financial and banking news, U.S. Treasuries are extending its steepest sell-off in months after the Democrats won the control of the Senate and the more likely return of inflation due to the economic stimulus that's being planned. There's going to be trillions of dollars that were printed and injected into the U.S. economy in 2020, and there's probably going to be trillions and trillions more in 2021 until people just stop lending us money. Because the only way that we can support all this is literally with debt. So what's going to happen is interest rates are going to creep up just a little bit because of inflation, right? And then we're not going to be able to support even the interest on the debt. And then it's going to be a downward spiral because then other countries aren't going to borrow the United States money because they know that they're never going to get paid back. And then that's going to be the end of the American empire. I can do a video with a little bit more details in regards to that as well, but I think it's going to happen. To be for sure, next 10 years, 100%, most likely probably within, I would say about 4 to 7 years, maybe even earlier than that, maybe 3 to 7 years. It's hard to put an exact date on it due to the fact that, the governments, they change and they make different decisions. So obviously that's why it's a little bit hard to be able to go ahead and predict that, but it is going to happen. Commodities, the commodities that are based on dollars are starting to go up quite a bit as well due to the fact that the dollar has been not collapsing, but going down quite a bit. Things like oil and others. This week we had a situation where oil not skyrocketed, but it went up quite a bit after there was an agreement in OPEC and Saudi Arabia announced that they were going to cut production, 1 million barrels per day. For the first time in the last 35 years as well, no oil arrived from Saudi Arabia to the United States last week. This, from a geopolitical and security perspective, is great because if we don't have to rely on somebody else for our oil, our energy that runs the economy, we obviously don't have to have endless wars and things like that in the Middle East either. And once again, this is demonstrating the declining U.S. reliance on Middle Eastern oil. However, this may change now due to the new environmental regulations that are going to come on board. Because obviously, with let's just say that it's going to change in the next few years, most likely, because of the new government that's going to take control. The U.S. crude went up 7.66% this week. It went up to 52.24. International Brent went up 8.08 this week to 55.99. Oil now is at an 11-month high. And if you guys have been following me, they banned. Trump isn't the only one getting censored. They banned the DTA English channel, but if you guys remember, I did a video talking about the huge opportunity in the oil, the big oil stocks and the dividends. And if you would have paid attention to that, obviously we have a situation now where it's not skyrocketed, but it went up quite a bit, and that would have been a great investment. Even though I'm not a trading advisor, we don't trade people's money for educational purposes only. Gold ended the year at 1,900 an ounce and went up by 25%, where silver went up 49%. The previous metals for the week, the precious metals, they went down for the week. Gold went down 2.59% to 1,851, where silver went down 3.80% to 2,550. Part of the reason that some of the analysts are saying that gold and silver are actually going down is because the things like stocks are exploding to the upside. So there's a lot of people that are taking that capital and repositioning it into stocks. In addition to, some people say that because of Bitcoin as well, because Bitcoin has been going up so high that people may prefer that over gold and silver. In political news, San Francisco Representative Nancy Pelosi at age 80 was re-elected Speaker of the House, but is going to face new challenges as her final term as Speaker. They have the slimmest majority in 2 decades in the House of Representatives. And as I mentioned to you, the 2 senators from Georgia won the elections, and now it's going to be a lot easier for Biden and Harris's agenda to be able to pass and implement what they want to do now that they literally control all of government. Congress also affirmed this week, I mentioned to you as before, that they officially accepted the electoral college votes to be able to go ahead and have Biden continue as the president on January 20th. And Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, for the first time, said on Friday that there might be an election this year to be able to prepare for a vote that he insists he doesn't want due to the fact that he has a minority government now, and he has to make deals with opposition parties to be able to govern. In U.S. economic news, the U.S. manufacturing accounted for about 11.9% of the U.S. economy. It saw its activity rise to the highest level in 2.5 years on December. This is likely as rising new COVID-19 infections pull demand away from services towards goods. Obviously, we're quarantined, right? Most of us in the United States, even here in Antioquia, the state where Medellin is, even here, there's a complete lockdown for the weekend. So you can't go out and do stuff, right? So most people are ordering items online. So it's basically just been a shift. Number of Americans filing for first-time jobless claims or jobless benefits, I should say, unexpectedly dropped last week by 3,000. So the labor market is starting to the recovery is starting to stall a little bit with a lot more government lockdowns, and we're going to see what happens in the next few months if, for example, we have a national lockdown in the United States. The U.S. economy lost jobs for the first time in 8 months in December. Non-farm payrolls decreased by 140,000 last month as the government ordered more business closures. And in addition to that, Canada lost 62,600 jobs in December. In corporate news, Hyundai, how do you say it? The South Korean automaker surged 19.42% after news that they are making a preliminary agreement, or in talks, I should say, with Apple to be able to go ahead and develop electric vehicles and batteries. Their market valuation surged by $8 billion. Elon Musk now is the new richest man in the world, valued at $191 billion after Tesla stock surged 7.84%. Their market cap now is above $800 billion, and it moves ever closer to the $1 trillion company club. Other than that, one thing that I don't know if I mentioned here earlier when I was talking about Bitcoin, Tesla actually had better results, better returns last year than Bitcoin. Bezos is in not a distant second, but in a second place at 187 billion, whereas Bill Gates now is in a distant third at 132 billion. In trade news, the U.S. is holding off putting tariffs on French cosmetics, handbags, and other imports. Remember that this is in retaliation to the French digital services tax on the U.S. companies. And so now they're saying that the 25% tariffs on imports from French goods, valued at about $1.3 billion annually, is going to go into effect on Wednesday, are suspended indefinitely. In investment news, the U.S. aircraft maker Boeing reaches a $2.5 billion settlement with the Justice Department to end criminal charges. They said that they defrauded the Federal Aviation Administration when they first got approval for the 737 MAX jet. They recently just got approval last November to be able to go ahead and fly again, but unfortunately we had another one of these Boeing 737s that basically crashed off the coast of Indonesia after leaving Jakarta. So if you're flying, I would be careful flying on a Boeing jet. And China's Ministry of Commerce is publishing new rules countering unjustified laws and restrictions imposed by foreign countries on Chinese firms and citizens as the relations between the U.S. and China deteriorate as well. And in Iran, an international event seized a South Korean flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz and announced that they would increase their nuclear activities as the tensions are mounting there as well. The reason why they decided to go ahead and seize the boat is because they're saying that they were having repeated violations of environmental laws. And the new strain of the coronavirus in South Africa and the UK seems to be a lot more transmissible, but scientists are saying that they don't believe that the variant is any deadlier, which means that a lot more people can get infected, which may mean more serious infections and fatalities. And the UK now is under strict lockdown after Boris Johnson is announcing a national lockdown for all of England to be able to try to shut down the new mutation. And in unusual facts this week, Trump stated that he's not going to be attending the President-elect Biden's inauguration on January 20th as the first president to not sit for the inauguration since 1869. And in addition to that, this is only the fourth time that a successor has decided not to attend the inauguration of an incoming president. And in India, 4 states, including Rajasthan, are reporting an avian influenza outbreak. Thousands of birds are being culled to be able to try to stop the spread of the disease, and they've had unusual deaths in poultry, crows, migratory birds, in addition to other things as well. And there's a lot of surveillance now in water bodies, live bird markets, zoos, and poultry farms. That's the news for this week, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm.